Thank you very much, Mr. Clark. Well, good afternoon. It's lovely to see you again, Cheryl. I do recall we have met at a dinner before. And to you, Paul. It's a new step for the charity fund. I don't think we've been directly involved in working with the college as such. And it's been very interesting to hear of your plans for the ceramics and glass course. And of course, we're delighted to be associated and indeed helping you reinstate that. It's something that we're very interested in terms of encouraging young people for the future. And we're about to take a further step with an organisation in London, which goes on from university course to the big wide world where they have to start actually figuring out how to make money and keep themselves alive. So it's good to work with Brine Leas in the first steps to get them to the place. Hopefully you'll inspire them to do something amazing in art, and then hopefully we can carry on and encourage them a little further after university. So once upon a time, of course, we used to visit, and I would attend, or the master would attend, and we'd give a good old-fashioned thing like a cheque, and I would engage with students and talk to them, and we'd have a jolly splendid time. But of course, in this time of COVID, it's all a little bit strange now. But it's nonetheless good to see you both, and I suppose we've all become much more used to Zoom, and perhaps it's a better, I don't know, maybe. But anyway, it's great for it to be associated with your organisation, and I am very much looking forward to learning a lot more about it from you. So good luck. We're hopefully going to come and see you at some point in the future, but for now, anyway, it's really good to be able to assist. So over to you, and let's hear some more about Brine Leas, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you, everybody, especially for your time as well. Yeah, a little bit about Brine Leas. We are the most southern school in Cheshire East, so we literally go all the way down to the Shropshire border. So we are the last secondary school in this area. So for that reason, our catchment area is quite unusual. We sit at the top of our catchment area in sunny Nantwich, and then the rest of our catchment area goes all the way down to sort of, well, right out to Shropshire. So it's about 10 miles deep, our catchment area, which is really big for a secondary school. We are 11 to 18, which is lovely. We've always wanted A-level and post-16 work, and we managed to secure that in 2011, so we're up and running with that now. We're oversubscribed, which is good, so we're very full, and we're the school of choice, if you like, in the local area. Unfortunately, though, it's something I spoke to Paul about quite a lot, was we are underfunded. Cheshire East is one of the lowest funded local authorities in the country, which is not a great accolade. And then worse than that is we are one of the 4 lowest funded schools in Cheshire East. So we find ourselves near the bottom, unfortunately, for funding in England. So things like this bid are incredibly helpful to us. We've had quite a big change since the video was made. So we're waiting to do adult ed when Boris says that we're allowed to. That's something that we're looking forward to, and we have a glass adult ed course which is going to start on that as well, which is really, really exciting. As I say, hopefully around the 18th of May, we're hopeful that we can get some of those things going, which would be really good. And we also have a large amount of glasswork and beadwork going on in textiles and art. There's quite a few things across the newly formed department, which is really exciting. We're really looking forward to it. So these are all things that we couldn't have done without this money. Unfortunately, we just can't repair things. So yeah, that's us in a nutshell. I don't know if you've got anything to add, Cheryl, put you on the spot.
No, well, I've been involved as an invigilator for about 6 years. I don't generally work at the school as a teacher. I've done first aid courses and food hygiene for the sixth form because I'm qualified, and recently helping with the COVID testing. But it was when I was invigilating in the ceramics exam, there was a young man who had struggled on academic subjects, but when he was doing his ceramics and glass, he just shone, and he was the inspiration for me to talk to Paul about trying to apply for some funding. And when I heard that the kilns were going to be closed down and this course wasn't going to be offered, I just felt it was really sad. And fortunately, we've worked together, and personally, I'm just so pleased because, well, I know Barbara as a friend, but also as a professional, but she will tell you I love seeing children thrive and achieve the best they can. So I'll probably miss my vocation, but Paul's probably very lucky never to have had me on the staff. But, so this means a lot to me personally. And also I'm going on the pottery, on the ceramics and the glass course, so warn the teacher.
Yeah,
really, it's something fantastic for the community, and I just know what it'll mean to a lot of people and their families and children.
Yeah, it's really good. We've got, if you just as an idea, 2 of the courses didn't run. We couldn't run them for the GCSE, so that's year 10 and 11. And through this funding, we've put both courses back on. One course has got 9 children on, which is not bad considering they can't see anything to kind of opt for. So it's always difficult with a new curriculum. And the adult ed course has got 14 people waiting to go on it. So it's really good. It's things that we couldn't have done before. So a big thank you. We really do appreciate it.
Shall we show the film?
Yes, please.
My name is Paul Barton. I'm the curriculum lead for the subject. I just thought I'd introduce the department by showing you a couple of examples of student work that we have in our gallery. Due to the current situation, much of our work is covered in plastic to help protect it and make it easily to clean. So we have a whole range of student work from year 10, year 11 that has been put on exhibition. This is individual work which has been produced by students across those year groups. We have a history of producing really good quality work, and I hope this comes through in our video clip. Here we have some examples of student work which has been produced in school. We are very fortunate in that we have on loan some professional pieces that have been manufactured from glass to show the students the kind of thing that can be produced and also to inspire the students in the future. Morning. Can you tell me a little bit of what you think and like about art?
The drawings, and you can do your own thing. You don't always have to follow what everyone else does. It can be your own.
And what kind of drawing have you done in school at the moment?
Books and food.
And what about outside of art? Have you done any drawing in design technology?
Yes.
But you've not been able to make anything at the moment, have you?
No.
In art, we can't do any of our normal ceramics. Now, I know that you've seen some of the work around the school. What do you think about ceramics?
It's very unique.
In what way? Can you give me an example?
You can put stuff on it that people have never seen before.
Excellent. And in terms of trying to make something, are you looking forward to having the kilns repaired and making different plates and pots and decorative pieces?
Yes.
That'd be absolutely fantastic, won't it?
Yeah.
Tell me something about art.
I think it's a very creative way of expressing yourself.
And what kind of artwork have you done so far at Brine Leas?
I've drawn beetles and insects.
And have you had the opportunity to make anything?
No.
Okay. Now you've seen the art department and you've seen around the workshops and food area, and when it comes to making, I know that you've seen what we do in food and you've seen what we do in design technology because you've been to open evenings. And one of the sad things is because of the kilns, we've not been able to do any ceramics. Now I know you've seen the work around school. Can you tell me what you think about ceramics?
They're very creative and they look really good.
So what makes ceramics different to drawing in art?
Because you can make things in 3D and add different colours with like glazes.
Absolutely perfect. And are you looking forward to that when we get the kilns repaired?
Yeah.
Excellent. Morning, can you tell me what you like about art?
I enjoy that you're able to add colour and everything can be your own and it's all different to everybody else's.
And what's your experience been at Brine Leas since you started?
Well, this year we've only really been able to use coloured pencils, not able to do as much as we like to do, and we've not been able to experience art fully.
Excellent. So in terms of moving forward, I know that you're aware and you've experienced food technology and textiles technology and working in the workshops in engineering and product design, but you've never been able to do ceramics, and I know you know the reason for that, but you've seen ceramics work around the school and you know that the kilns are going to be repaired. How do you think repairing the kilns and doing ceramics is going to help you and your artwork?
I really think that it's going to be a much better experience because instead of just using paints, we're able to make things in 3D and use glazes and colour.
And are you looking forward to that?
Yes, definitely.
Hello and welcome to Brine Leas Art and Technology Department. Ceramics to this school has always been a very popular subject area and discipline, and for quite a few years we've been unable to offer it to our students due to a lack of money to be able to continue to service and refurbish the equipment. Now having this opportunity to gain some vital funding to be able to bring the department back up to what it once was is a fantastic opportunity. The opportunity for students to be able to work with clay in 3 dimensions, develop those skills in coil building, slab building is fantastic. Historically we had possibly 2 groups of GCSE that would opt for the subject, and obviously we were able to use it lower down the school as well. So if we get that money, it opens up those options again to use that funding for those students to be able to experience ceramics. It is one of the world's oldest crafts. It is a brilliant material medium to work with. Students will be able to learn how to bisque fire, they'll be able to learn how to emboss, engrave and carve into the ceramics. They'll also learn a lot about the kilns, the firing processes, how to apply glazes and oxides, and that just opens up and broadens that option to those students. It's also an exciting time at Brine Leas because technology and art have joined as a curriculum area, so that gives us an even greater spectrum of options. So for technology to be able to come into art and use the facilities, for us to be able to go into technology and use their facilities, maybe laser cutting, maybe doing some glass work, gives those students such a breadth of experience, and then that means the result of that is the outcomes that those students produce are wonderful, because they're able to experiment wider with such a broader amount of materials that sometimes they wouldn't have been able to experience. A lot of students love art, but sometimes find it difficult to access. Sometimes they might not naturally be drawers, painters and printmakers and struggle with that medium, and often those students need to be diverted into ceramics and have the option to work in 3D like they do in technology. And so giving that option, having the kilns back up and running, being able to revive the department is just fantastic. And I think it's a really exciting time for the school and the curriculum area now that we've joined and we can all work together and give our students the best possible options and opportunities. Funding also for the kilns becoming operational and back fully work in order will enable us to open up the opportunities to our wider community to come in and use the equipment. So for transition with year 6, chimney house and feeder primaries, adult education and the opportunity to collaborate with Nantwich Museum will be so exciting for Brine Leas and Nantwich and its wider community.
I just thought I'd also show you some of our facilities, because art and design technology are now linked together as one curriculum area, so the students will be able to use a whole range of resources, so no matter what subject they do, then they'll be allowed to work backwards and forwards between the two disciplines. So this is one of our product design workshops, and this is our heat treatment room, where we still have traditional casting, forge work, silversmithing, sheet metal work, MIG and gas welding, and then moving through to the engineering workshop, where we are hoping to have more creative engineering linked to art and design, as well as formal engineering. So this is our sixth form product design room, where we have laser cutters, 3D printers, 3D routers, and once again we have already started to develop the link with art, so that we can use the resources in here for art students, and obviously the art rooms for design technology students. So this is some of the textiles work that has been produced at A level. And once again, you can see a strong link between art and design technology. So the final discipline that we offer is photography, and here you can see some of the digital and film responses that we have from A-level students, and hopefully the funding that we can secure will bring ceramics back onto the curriculum, so that students will be able to experience a whole range of disciplines, providing a really strong base for a creative career for these youngsters. Thank you for your time.
I come, please.
You're welcome.
You can stay with me.
Thank you. Well, I went to art school when I was 17, so there was nothing like that in my school except poster paint and a bit of clay work. But all the things that you've got there, I did when I was a lot older. In a full art school. Nothing else was taught there except all sorts of arty things. So I recognise all the machinery, but obviously more up to date than I had. But just absolutely lovely.
Thank you. I think Paul, to be fair to him, it was quite difficult for him to do that recording, because if you notice, the school shut. We were actually in lockdown when that was recorded. So the 3 children that you see were shipped in. They're all staff members' children, because they're the only kids we could get a hold of. So I do apologise if there's not as much emotion you normally see, but it was unusual times.
It was so sad to see all the rooms so empty.
I know. I think we guessed probably.
Yeah.
Normally they're buzzing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, our workshops have not been used for 12 months. It's really sad.
Paul, just a question for you. The impression that I got obviously was very much ceramics orientated. Could you talk a bit about glass and how that will actually be effective? Because obviously that's the most important thing from our point of view. Not that we don't like ceramics, because the company was associated with ceramics when it was first formed.
Yeah, of course. And that's where the 2 staff who did the recording were probably not fully up to speed, in all honesty. So, yeah, we since that video, we have got a successful adult ed course waiting to run, which is a glass course. I can't remember. I think it's a level 2, so that's a GCSE. I don't think it's an A-level course for adult ed. That is. We have then they've chosen their board for the ceramics course, and they've gone for the ceramics with glass work from AQA, which is the first time we've ever offered that, and that's at GCSE, and that's got nearly double figures of pupils on it for a new course. We're quite pleased with that. So it's quite a significant change for us. The bits that you probably can't see properly there is we do actually do quite a lot of work, or the textile teachers do, with glass work, especially at A-level, because they like to do a lot of sort of applique work and bead work and those sorts of things.
Beads, yeah.
Yeah, and that's really popular. So the textile course is very successful. So we've had 4 students now go to St Martin's in London, which is kind of the highest prestigious fashion course going, and that's
certainly is.
Yeah, so it's really popular. It just doesn't come across that well in that video, so I do apologise for that.
No, not at all. It was just a question. I think Barbara's really into beads as well, aren't you?
Well, I was, yes, yes. But the kilns, you should be able to use those for fusing and plumping. Certainly for fusing, even even though they're upright kilns rather than box kilns. So they should be quite useful, particularly.
I'm going to propose that I'm going to introduce Ian Chadwick to Paul, because he's not that far away. So he may be able to. He's very keen on teaching and engaging with young people and getting them interested in glass. So hopefully I shall do that and see if there's any synergy there. But the other thing that occurred to me, you've got some display cabinets there, and you've said in that video that you've got some pieces that have been lent to you to show people what can be done with glass. Are they local artists, or have you derived them from a specific source?
No,
Would you like me to take that one, Paul?
Oh yeah, you can do. Go on then.
They were actually, my mother-in-law did those, and she was a teacher, and she didn't learn about engraving on glass until she was 58. She passed away 4 years ago, but she became, and on the wall here, she was a botanical artist. We have her certificate, and because of lockdown and the difficulties, I asked the other Paul, we've got too many Pauls, if it would help that we showed the pupils and photographs of stuff that she had done. So it was really to inspire them. I have hundreds and hundreds of bits and bobs, which when the courses are up and running, we are happy to take in to show the pupils different ideas and forms. But I can assure you the Brine Leas students will come up with amazing ideas, weren't they?
Yeah, they're just desperate to get going with all of the practical subjects, really.
Yeah.
It's,
But there are also a couple of staff members who also do glass work. Unfortunately, one of them had been quite poorly, and she was off school at the time of the filming.
Well, just as a point of reference, we have a collection of glass that is kept in a vault. It doesn't come out and see the air of day very often, but I'm sure if we were to talk with Barbara, there is a possibility that we could lend you some of our collection for you to also show the students on what might be achieved, and perhaps have a glass exhibition at the college to show the local community.
That would be lovely. Yeah,
something worth talking about. Some of our pieces are quite old. We have one particular piece at the moment which is on loan to the clerk of the Chamberlain at the Guildhall, and it is actually an engraving done by one of the most famous glass engravers that has ever been, a guy called Dresner. But that's a small goblet, which is a London landscape or a skyline. But there are other pieces that most certainly that would well do with being out and being seen by people. As I say, you could perhaps mount an exhibition up in your local community for people to look at it if that was what was something that could be inspiring for you.
that would be lovely. Yeah.
We can talk about that in due course.
Good.
I found you a job, Barbara.
Yes, 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 I heard that. Yeah.
What another one?
Into room 1, Barbara.
Yes.
Well, particularly as it being the quite probably going to be the International Year of Glass next year.
Oh,
Still waiting to hear from United Nations. They were supposed to have made a decision last week, but it hasn't been announced yet. So
It'll be a special year.
yeah, it will.
It will.
In more ways than one.
Absolutely.
Paul, could I just ask you about the status of the school? It's an academy. Is it part of a group, and or not? And where does its funding come from?
Yeah, it's, so we're a multi-academy trust. We're currently today a multi-academy trust of 1, which is called a SAT. We are looking at two avenues at the moment. So there's a primary school or maybe 2 joining us pretty quickly. But these things are really slow at the moment. But they're on their way. They're all feeder primary schools that will join us. And then there's a bigger, wider discussion with some other secondary schools around the area about joining, because any academy at the moment that's on its own is quite vulnerable to something called the RSC, and they need to be careful. So there's a big push at the moment for these, as they're called SATs, single academy trusts, to join. So it's quite a big push at the moment. In terms of funding, because we're an academy, it's a bit of a mess, to be honest, to give you a non-political answer. We are, strictly speaking, we're not funded by the local authority because we're an academy. However, the money goes to the local authority, where academisation was meant to mean that schools got the money direct to them. They quickly worked out that local authorities couldn't afford to do that. So what happens now is the local authorities get the money, and they then hand it out, but they don't hand it out. This isn't just Cheshire East. They don't hand it out equally to all schools. So that's how we then end up with a weird situation where schools within the same local authority receive different amounts of funding. So there's something called the minimum funding agreement, which local authorities should have adopted. Cheshire East haven't adopted it yet, and that would give schools a minimum funding agreement of a certain amount per pupil. However, we are below that minimum funding agreement. So if you don't feel like you have to get your violins out. But when schools say they haven't got any money, we are genuine. We are. If we were Cheshire West, we would have £400 per pupil more than we receive now.
Oh, that's a huge amount.
It's a lot of money. Yeah, and even that. Say again, Paul. Sorry.
How many students have you got?
About 1,500.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Obscene amount.
Make an awful lot of difference.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So going back to the, unfortunately, we have to make decisions about things like equipment being fixed and those sorts of things. We've been very successful finding other bits of money and those sorts of things, but it doesn't make up for the shortfall that we receive. And so there's quite a few schools in Cheshire East. They've got the dodgy name of being, I can't remember, it's something like the 3 lowest funded authorities. It's Cheshire East.
Do you have the opportunity to get support from local industry?
We do, yeah. We have Bentley on our doorstep, and they're pretty good. They do help us, but none of them can get anywhere near to the money shortfall, that we see with the ORPU, as it's called, the amount of money per pupil head. But yeah, we do get help.
But I thought the point of the academy programme was to free you from the stranglehold of the local council.
Yes.
Seems very odd that the money goes to them and they sit on it.
Yeah, that's how it's done. Yeah, the money still goes to them initially, and then as a pot of money, and then it's decided, and then they decide how it's shared.
So they share it around amongst other academies. They don't take a percentage themselves.
No, that's the top slice. That if you were a local authority school, you would get top sliced because they take services out of it. No, so we don't get that. So that's where we get an increase in money. However, we still aren't ultimately. We don't have any power over the money we get.
Oh dear, very complicated.
Which academy are you?
We're currently Brine Mat is the academy, or the Multi Academy Trust. The school is Brine Leas.
So Brine Mat supply the local authority with tranches of money, and then the local authority decide how they distribute it.
No, the government give the money to the local authority for all the schools in their local authority, and then they divvy it up and give it out to the academies and the normal schools, the ones that are not.
So the local authority are the ones that decide how it's distributed.
Yeah, Cheshire East do. They choose to do it that way. Yeah, it's so complicated. There's another way of funding schools called the National Funding Agreement, which we're waiting for because we would be better off with the National Funding Agreement. However, other schools in Cheshire East would potentially be less well off, so it becomes quite political.
Do you have a good board of governors?
Yes, outstanding. Yeah, they're very good.
And proactive.
Yeah, they're very good. We got a big company and crew called Mornflakes who do most of your oats and so on that are in your breakfasts and those sorts of things. They're really good. They help us as much as we can. They're very proactive. We've written to various people who will listen about funding and so on, but yet to see a significant change for us.
Paul, Nantwich is very leafy. Do you have any areas of deprivation within your catchment?
Yeah, we do. It's an interesting one. My wife works in Stoke, which is very different to Nantwich, and we always compare. So we still have children, who come from sort of hardships and those things. We just don't have as many. But there are areas in Nantwich which still, our pupil premium numbers, sadly, and disadvantage numbers have doubled over COVID. As families find things hard. I think that's a national picture. I think we'll see that a lot over the next year or so. Families, unfortunately, have found things quite difficult. So no, we still have that. We have a very high number of looked after children at this school, and that is linked to Nantwich because, as you quite rightly say, Nantwich is quite a nice leafy town, and therefore there's quite a lot of families who choose to foster in Nantwich. So as a school, we have a surprisingly high number of looked after and previously looked after children, which is great. Which is great. And we have a large number of families who are farmers. So it's a very diverse intake at Brine Leas. It is unusual.
Thank you.
Still gets a lot of excitement, you know, when it drives past.
Do you get much cross mix of ethnicities?
No, that's one thing I would say. Certainly in around South Cheshire, that's something that we don't have a large amount of mixed ethnicity. No, but we do have unusual pockets of it. So we recently had 2 refugees who have literally they fled Syria with their family, managed to get all the way to England, and then they were housed in Nantwich. And they're a great addition to the school. So it's it's diverse in that way, but not ethnicity. No.
We might well be able to persuade one of our members to come and visit you. He lives in Chester, and he's currently the president of British Glass.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
So we'll put that on the drawing board as well, as a possibility. See what he's up to. He's in post for 2 years, and he's just come on board in January. He's currently assistant to the court, so as far as the company's concerned. But he and his wife do like engaging with the schools that we give money to, so that could quite be a good positive move there. And I'll see what else we can come up with in terms of trying to engage with business and commerce in your area. As I think I did mention to you this huge project that's going on in St Helens, which is being led by immediate past master Richard Catt, sat up there. And that's going to be, eventually they will have an education department as well. They're still in their very early days of formulating. They haven't got a building yet for their research. But that's another reason that you should stay in touch with us, and that we can filter information through to you as things develop there.
That'd be fantastic.
Any more questions? Oh, and I've still got to talk to you, Mr. Whitehead, about your glass combustion engine.
Yes. Yeah, I'll try and dig out some drawings and stuff, see what I can find for you.
Right, please do. I want to have a lecture on it.
Yeah, I will find them. I will find it all out for you. Dust off my memory.
That would be a good
Take
homework.
a while.
Good homework.
Yeah. There's not many brain cells left now.
I don't believe that for 1 minute. Any more questions, anybody? Silence reign.
If I can just add, say in the video, I thought the whole collection of art was an enormous array, very eclectic, if I can say. Does English allow for very eclectic? Anyway, it was eclectic in an extreme, and really looked lovely. And you said the video was out. I say you said the video was out of date. Well, art never goes out of date.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. We pride ourselves on our arts and performing arts as well. They've taken a real hit over the last 12 months. So yeah, they are chomping at the bit as soon as we can get going. And you are welcome to visit, any of you, anytime. Come and see us.
Right, that'd be lovely.
Well, I would love to have a look at your department generally, because I thought the artwork was excellent. Was there any children?
Yeah.
I know they're not called children anymore, but they're only young.
The Helen's new, the lady in the video. Yeah, she used to work here, and we've managed to poach her back. So she's the lady who's quite a big driving force behind the glasswork and getting the kilns up and running and all those sorts of things. So if you come and visit us, she will have made a significant difference by the time you get to see us.
Lovely. On that note, I'll ask the master to call our meeting to a close, I think.
Paul and Cheryl, thank you for spending time with us this afternoon. And thank you for a truly inspiring presentation. I'm amazed at what you achieve and the output of your, it's not just an art, it's art and design departments. As Richard said, wonderful work on display. Clearly brilliant teaching and a real stimulus to the imagination and achievement of your pupils. We are, as the Glasshouse Company, proud to be associated with you, and I'm glad we've established this link, and that our modest groat or two can help you, because, as you know, we're not a wealthy livery company. We don't have millions, just have a few groats, and that we're able to help you at least get the ovens back and running, and we hope lead to the development of more glasswork, that being our raison d'etre. As I say, we're very proud to be associated with you. We're sure you'll make good use of our few groats. If it's not enough, come back for more, and we probably won't give it to you, but
it's always worth asking.
Yeah, let me think about that one.
Very negative, Master. Very negative.
It's up to the chairman to decide. No, I mean, we're always here. As I say, we have a little money, not much, but we would be absolutely delighted to be able to reinforce success. So thank you very much. Thank you for attending, all the rest of you, and good luck, and have a good breakout from the plague.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, and you
Thank you
too.
very much indeed.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.